Welcome, welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abraham Lloyd, and today we are here to talk about integrating commerce and service clouds, primarily leveraging the Service Cloud connector for B2C commerce. I think everyone's probably seen plenty of these slides today. One of the things I love about Salesforce personally is that we have this culture of gratitude, both internally within the company, as well as externally with our customers and partners. So on behalf of Salesforce and myself, I want to say thank you. We absolutely appreciate you and your partnership, and we're absolutely committed to your success. Also, as a reminder, Salesforce is a publicly traded company. So we ask you to please make any purchasing decisions based on the current state of the product and not based on what you might hear from a guy like me in a venue like this. So let's talk about what we're here to talk about, which is unifying commerce and service, integrating Commerce Cloud with Service Cloud. So when customers think about integration, this is what we typically see. They're pretty clear on the use cases that they want. They have an idea about the technology they think they should use, but there's one component missing, a foundational component. We like to call it Foundations for Cross-Cloud Success. It's three things: data strategy, profile orchestration, as well as customer resolution. So let's walk through just very quickly to provide some background and context what these things are. We're going to leverage them in the latter half of today's presentation. So when we think about integration, what we're doing is we're moving lots of data, right? We're moving lots of data from commerce to marketing, commerce to service, service to marketing and such. And the reality is that we need a strategy to be able to do this effectively, right? In order for the integrations to work. Part of that strategy needs to include being able to identify who our customers are regardless of the cloud that we're doing work in. So if I'm in Commerce Cloud or Marketing Cloud or Service Cloud, I need a consistent way to identify my customers. Part of the reason I need this is because I'm going to have to, at some point, try and resolve who my customer is based on the data that they give us. Who here has seen a session, or at least one session, on Customer 360? Right, so customer resolution, that is the magic that the Customer 360 platform is going to provide. There's a way to do this today, leveraging Service Cloud through the Service Cloud connector for B2C commerce. So let's pivot. And all right, so we provided a little bit of foundation background. We're going to leverage this in a moment. I want to pivot back now to the use cases supported by the Service Cloud connector. So what can you do with it? Well, you can integrate commerce and service and do a couple of really interesting things. First, it will give you a shared view of customers that you can enable within Service Cloud. You can enable self-service as well, allowing customers to create cases from a Commerce Cloud experience through a series of REST APIs that we expose. Service agents now have the ability to convert service interactions into upsell opportunities. Part of the reason they're able to do this is that, one, they can get insight into customer order behavior and purchasing behavior. The other way is through order on behalf of. And then with this integration, you can also extend these use cases to do things leveraging data that is exposed from Commerce Cloud. Thinking about business value, a couple of interesting figures here. 67% of customers say, hey, the way you served me is part of the standard that I use to measure our relationship and what my loyalty be based off of. 59% also say that a tailored service approach is important to their relationship and the trust that they place in a brand. The metric that I like, or the figure that I like coming from Salesforce research is, at any given point in time, at least 50% of your customers will consider leaving you for a better service experience. So this is why having an integrated experience between commerce and service is important, because it's going to give you the ability to serve your customers in a better way. So how do we do this? Well, one of the things that we're doing at Salesforce is doubling down on cross-cloud integration and being able to support customers with what's involved in actually accomplishing this. One of the ways we're doing this today is through solution kits. Now, what are solution kits? You can think of solution kits as guides that will provide context to customers and partners on how to implement these use cases on our platform. So for Service Cloud, we have two specific solution kits: order on on behalf of, as well as view order history and cancel order. What these solution kits is guide you through an overview of what the use case is with a little bit of business context, an example of what implementing the use case looks like, as well as what the customer workflow looks like. In addition to this, you get configuration information on how to configure both clouds to support these use cases, as well as solution design considerations. One of the things to keep in mind about solution kits is that they're guides, all right? They're not paint-by-number guides, though, all right? But they're directionally accurate, and they provide context. They also provide considerations because our clouds can't do everything. So the considerations arm you with things to be mindful of when you adopt a thoughtful approach. Lastly, you also get links to implementation resources. So whenever you see Einstein and he says, remember this is a key important point for you to take home. If you're interested in cross-cloud integration, you want to leverage the solution kits as an entry point to educate you, your customers, or if you're a partner, you and your customers on what's involved with implementing a given use case. All right. So those are the use cases. Let's talk now about the technology, specifically the B2C Commerce Connector for Service Cloud. So what is it? It's a B2C, it's a Salesforce Labs Commerce Cloud cartridge that facilitates the integration between Commerce Cloud and Service Cloud. All right? The whole point of this is that it's designed to accelerate the integration. We do this by providing a development framework that comes enabling a core set of use cases. We'll talk about what those use cases are in a minute. All right? The way that we accomplish the integration is through a series of REST APIs. One, we leverage REST APIs that are available from within Commerce Cloud. We also expose a set of custom REST APIs available in Service Cloud as part of implementing the connector. This is how we create a cycle that enables synchronization of data from one cloud to another. We support real-time peer-to-peer integration, as well as batched integration if you so choose to go down that configuration path. Couple things to keep in mind about this connector. It's not a plug-and-play solution. So who here is familiar with Marketing Cloud Connect? How about another productized connector from Salesforce, right? So these connectors all kind of behave the same way. They require configuration. They typically don't require any development. They support a fixed set of use cases. There's an upgrade path from one version to another. And you could call Salesforce technical support if you have a problem. The B2C Commerce Connector, or the Service Cloud Connector for B2C Commerce, is a development framework designed to accelerate integration between these two clouds. You should think about it like a mobile SDK. All right, it's supported by a product team, but it's going to require customization. And you're going to have to customize not just the Service Cloud implementation, you're also going to have to customize the Commerce Cloud implementation. All right? It's going to require both configuration and implementation in both clouds. So when you implement this, you should think about implementing it as a net new software project as opposed to a connector that you install, do a little magic, and then flip a switch, and then boom, it's working. All right? It's not a productized solution. It's not directly eligible for Salesforce technical support. But what you can do if you need support for your connector or even want to learn a little bit more about it, you can engage your success manager and ask them to reach out to the cross-cloud team. Mihir Panchal, could you raise your hand? All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mihir Panchal, one of the leaders of the cross-cloud program here at Salesforce within our customer success group. So, how does the connector work? There is a Service Cloud component that we deploy to a Salesforce environment or an org through Ant. The source code is available, so if you want to customize anything about the Service Cloud implementation, you have the ability to do so. This includes Lightning components, Visual Force components, as well as the REST services that come defaulted with the implementation. Remember, as a reminder, to treat this as a net new software project as opposed to a productized connector. All right. Service Cloud Connector for B2C Commerce on the Salesforce side also has some implementation prerequisites specifically around the customer model that you've done in your org. Today, the Service Cloud Connector only supports person accounts. So if you don't have person accounts enabled, or you're not interested in implementing person accounts, you can still leverage the connector, but the connector as a development framework needs to be customized to live up to and adhere to your customer model. So if you're doing accounts and contacts, or you're doing households, or some variation of that, let's say B to B to C, with your customer model, you're going to have to customize the Service Cloud connector to be able to support that. If, however, you're using person accounts, it'll just work for you when you install it. So what do you get with the Service Cloud connector? A couple of things. One, you get a unified view of the customer. So within Service Cloud, you get a 360-degree view of the customer and all of their commerce and service interactions. You get to see all of their cases, any chatter posts created off their cases, as well as orders that they've placed from Commerce Cloud, either through a registered account or anonymously. Customers have the ability now as well within the storefront to be able to create cases. We expose this capability through a REST service that comes with the connector. From a service standpoint, we can enable 2 use cases really geared towards service agents. One is order on behalf of, where a service agent can now launch a session on behalf of a customer straight from Service Cloud, as well as a consolidated order history. By being able to consistently identify who our customers are and resolve who they are, we now have the ability to build a rich order history of all their transactions, regardless of whether they've registered and engaged in an authenticated manner, or if they place their order through guest checkout. And all of this occurs through our cross-cloud data synchronization model. So, talking about data now, what data do we actually leverage from Commerce Cloud to Service Cloud? Well, here's what it is. With our model, we have the ability to create customer records from Commerce Cloud in Service Cloud as a person account. When an order is placed from Commerce Cloud, we can push those order details to Service Cloud, leveraging our REST APIs. In addition to that, again, customers have the ability now to create cases in Commerce Cloud through a Commerce Cloud UI experience that pushes those cases to Service Cloud via REST APIs exposed through the connector. So let's do a little bit of a walkthrough now, just kind of showing what the data movement is and what some of the interaction points are. So the connector facilitates order on behalf of first by leveraging Commerce Cloud's Open Commerce APIs. We authenticate based on your business manager user credentials. Every service agent in Service Cloud will have a pair of named credentials that map back to a Commerce Cloud business manager user that has order on behalf of credentials. Orders and cases can be viewed by service agents from within Service Cloud through a series of Lightning components and Visualforce components that we provide and expose. And we synchronize order, cases, and customer information through REST APIs, a REST API handshake model where Commerce Cloud, when, let's say, an order is placed, we announce to Service Cloud, hey, this order has been placed, and we provide the ID for it. Because Service Cloud has been authenticated to leverage Commerce Cloud's REST APIs, we have the ability now through Okapi to pull that order's details, parse out the details that we want to leverage, and then create that order record in Service Cloud. Additionally, we have jobs in place that can be used to ensure that this synchronization never fails, never with an asterisk. So let's do a little bit of a data walkthrough, just kind of showing what this looks like. One, we're going to enable synchronization from our production environment to our Service Cloud environment. So as part of this, when a customer goes ahead and they create a case, we can push that case to Service Cloud. Similarly, when a customer registers through Commerce Cloud, we have the ability to push that registration to Service Cloud as well. And when an order is placed, we also have the ability to do the same thing. We have a job that can run in the background that helps enable this synchronization, especially if peer-to-peer or real-time doesn't work for you. And then lastly, with all of this data living in Service Cloud, customer service agents can now serve customers and launch things like order on behalf of sessions. So a couple of considerations to be mindful of when implementing the Service Cloud connector, all right? We do support peer-to-peer and batch integrations with our synchronization model. What we don't support, however, is bulk import. So if you're looking to import a bulk history of data, if you're looking to import a bulk customer history, you're going to want to leverage the tools that are better for this than our connectors, specifically the bulk API within the Salesforce platform. As a reminder, this is going to require configuration and implementation in both clouds, all right? So think about that. It has prerequisites based on the Service Cloud customer model. So this will work for any customer model, but it will only work without customizations if you're leveraging person accounts. So if you're doing accounts and contacts, households, or B2B to C, you're going to have to customize the connector to work with your customer model. And then lastly, with regard to order on behalf of, if you want to enable order on behalf of, you have to remember for every service agent that you have in Service Cloud, you're going to want to have a Commerce Cloud Business Manager account that maps to that service agent. We provide a way of doing this through named credentials within the Service Cloud platform. The one piece to really keep in mind here that we see customers curious about and that we have to remind them on is about the customer model. So the capabilities in the connector will work for anyone, but right now it only supports person accounts. You can customize it for any other customer model that you want. So if it's account contacts or households or B2B to C, absolutely doable, but it means you're going to have to customize the connector as part of your net new implementation. All right, and so what else can you do? One thing to keep in mind about the Service Cloud connector is that this is an integration framework, all right? We support a core set of use cases that can be extended. You have the ability, because you have the source code for both the Service Cloud implementation as well as the Commerce Cloud implementation, to customize based on your needs or your customers' needs. So with this, we see customers extending the connector to support additional use cases, including incorporation of Einstein chatbots, being able to do guided shopping through a service rep experience, as well as driving embedded product recommendations within Service Cloud. So keep this in mind. It's an integration framework supporting a core set of use cases that absolutely can be extended. If you want to get the Service Cloud connector for B2C commerce, you can get this from the GitHub community, the Salesforce Commerce Cloud GitHub community at this URL. All right, so let me pivot now. We've got about 2.5 minutes left. I want to pivot back to the foundation piece about data strategy, orchestration, and resolution. The connector is one of the linchpins to our cross-cloud strategy today because it helps facilitate these three very specific things. So what we have here is a cross-cloud integration scenario. I've got my master record for customers that's going to live in Service Cloud. I also want to have trustworthy representations of these customers in commerce and marketing. The way that we enable this is leveraging the Service Cloud Contact ID. All right, I'm going to give you, boom, another Einstein says, please remember this. If you want to enable cross-cloud integration, the only identifier in our ecosystem currently that supports this today is the Service Cloud Contact ID, all right? You'll be able to do this in the future with Customer 360 and the Global Party ID, but until that goes GA, this is the only way to do it. Now, there's lots of detail around why this is important, but candidly, what it does is it enables you to consistently identify your customer regardless of the cloud they're in. It also allows you to orchestrate profile changes. So here, Jerry Seinfeld creates his account in Commerce Cloud. We have the ability to create a representation of Jerry in Service Cloud. That now becomes the master. That gets created through the B2C Commerce Service Cloud connector. We're going to replicate or synchronize that contact profile with Marketing Cloud using MC Connect. MC Connect will only do this based on if you leverage the contact ID as a subscriber key in Marketing Cloud, okay? So this is the model. You're going to create records in Commerce Cloud, push them to Service Cloud through the B2C Commerce connector, and then leverage MC Connect to synchronize that contact's representation in Marketing Cloud. Super important. Take this away with you, please. All right. And then with that, I'm now able to leverage the subscriber key because I know who my customer is. So if I want to build a rich engagement history as well as a rich history of my service interactions as well as my commerce interactions, all of this history, every one of these events gets anchored to the Service Cloud Contact ID. So let's pivot now to resolution. We're about at the end. I'm a little bit over. If you guys can wait one more minute, that would be great. All right, so let's talk about resolution. One of the things about customer interactions today is that, candidly, the majority of them are anonymous, right? Two very interesting statistics about this. One, 10% or less of your customers are actually authenticating with usernames and passwords, right? The other interesting statistic, roughly about 80% of all orders placed through the storefront are actually placed through guest checkout, which means that we never really know who our customer is. But we have their information, which gives us the ability to attempt to resolve who they are. So here we have Elaine. Elaine has gone ahead. She's gone to the storefront. She's looking for a product. The product is out of stock. What Elaine does is she decides to subscribe to back in stock notification. She hasn't received it yet, so she opens a case through the storefront Contact Us form. Elaine gives us her email address. What this does is this gives us the ability to resolve who she is in Service Cloud, which you can do through the Service Cloud connector for B2C commerce. With that, I'm now able to get Elaine's contact ID and use that as a subscriber key for Marketing Cloud. This lets us do a couple of really important things. One, I can now anchor Elaine's interactions to that person account. So I'm now building a case history of Elaine. I can also leverage the Marketing Cloud subscriber key to send any emails or put Elaine on a journey when that product comes back in stock. So now I'm incrementally building that rich 360-degree view of the customer. And so Elaine finally gets her notification email. She purchases the product through guest checkout. Because we have the ability to drive resolution, we can now add that order to Elaine's personal account representation, even though she leveraged guest checkout. And so as Elaine's loyalty with us builds, she chooses to register, she makes additional purchases. Now we're able to add her registered customer purchases to her personal account profile. And so this is building that rich 360-degree view with every interaction. The way you do that is through customer resolution. The way to do this today is via the model that we just described. In the future, it will be easier leveraging Customer 360. All right. So as a reminder, if you want to get the Service Cloud connector, you can do so from the Salesforce Commerce Cloud GitHub community via this URL. Who here is going to Connections? We will see you two guys there. My name is Abraham Lloyd. I really appreciate you guys waiting through the end of this. Thank you very much. I hope you found this helpful. Travel safe when you go home, and please enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.